This is the Fantasy Alarm NBA DFS Show with Jon Impemba and James Grande.
What's going on, everybody? Jon Impemba here with James Grande. Welcome to the Fantasy Alarm NBA DFS Playbook Preview Show. It is the Thursday, James. That means we have two games on the main slate. A little TNT Tuesday, TNT Thursday, TNT Thursday. Those T days get me confused sometimes. Two games on a Thursday for TNT. It's a little bit of a tongue twister there, you know?
2 days, 2 games on a Thursday on TNT.
Yeah. If you
tomorrow.
say it quickly enough, though.
Yeah, shout out Emmanuel.
Yeah, Emmanuel. Amen. Not on the slate. We have Brooklyn, Miami. We have OKC and Golden State, which means we have Moses Moody on the slate there. So
Moses Moody, and Draymond's going to be watching from the sidelines.
Sure, Draymond suspended, fined as well for the UFC hold he held on the game against Gobert.
Yeah, here I saw for those UFC fans, I saw Charles Oliveira comment on the rear naked choke.
Lock in the rear naked choke there.
Yeah. I mean, if anyone should, if he needs to learn from anyone, a good guy to learn from.
Everybody knows that you got to lock in the hooks.
Right.
That's what it's about.
I mean, Draymond was trying to lock something. He was trying to lock it.
You know what? He had it under the chin. He just had to really get it in that that part there and just really crank on it. You and I watch UFC. Shout out my guy known. Great UFC playbooks written up by our guy here. Anyways, 2 games. It'll be a quick show for everybody here. No live show for today because it is a 2-game slate. So we'll be back live for our follower, listener, subscriber Friday, which means we do our Friday contest. So if you're watching this now, know that on Friday, come back, check the description of the show, tune into the live stream, check the Discord, check the playbook. There will be a link to our $5 weekly DraftKings Listener League contest for all of you to partake in. So check that out on Friday, but it is Thursday, so let's just waste no more time. Let's just get into the slate here. Let's talk about it. 2 games. We'll go team by team here. We'll start off with Brooklyn, Miami. Starting off with Brooklyn here. No Cam Thomas, no Ben Simmons. Top price plays Mikal Bridges. Spencer Dinwiddie at $6,900. Nick Claxton, $61. Cam J, $59. Your core rotation there for Brooklyn. Thoughts on this matchup for them going into Miami against the Heat?
Yeah, I mean, Miami's looked really good in the last, week or so. They have won, I think, 6 games in a row or 5 games in a row total. They look good. Brooklyn's offense is, they're okay themselves. I mean, coming off 124 points, that was their 3rd highest total of the year. I think Bridges is fine at 8K. He's clearly going to settle into this big-time shot role. He only played 32 minutes in that game because they pulled away. So, 17 minutes or 17 shots in 32 minutes for Mikal Bridges is solid. You got to assume that's over 20 in a more competitive game. Like, he's playing 34, 35 minutes in competitive games. We've seen him play 38, 39 minutes in competitive games. So there's a ceiling for Mikal Bridges even at 8K. Spencer Dinwiddie, we saw talk about a ceiling. That it doesn't get better than that for Spencer Dinwiddie.
Probably won't get better than that this year.
No, probably won't. And if you want to play him in a tournament, that's fine. I'm not this is nothing to do with Nick Claxton completely burning us last game. But how does he stay if he's going to get in 4 fouls in 8 minutes against Goga Batadze and Mo Wagner? What the hell is he going to do against Bam Adebayo?
Yeah.
It's tough for me. I love the price. If you were to tell me that Claxton were to get 30 minutes, I mean, we saw 21 fantasy points in 21 minutes. He's a fantasy point per minute guy when he's out there. But ultimately, John, Cam J is just too cheap. I'm sorry. He's still under 6K. I don't understand the rotations for Cam J in this game. That was super confusing to me. But
you don't like when he's not playing any minutes in the second quarter of the game?
What? 11 minutes in the first, 0 minutes in the second, 18 minutes in the second half. I'm unsure what happened there. Maybe coach just forgot. Jack Vaughn just said, "Oh, wait, we have Cam Johnson back. We probably should have put him in."
I feel we're missing something here.
Oh, right. The guy who scored 20 actual in 29 minutes on 11 shots. So, yeah, under 6K, Cam Johnson's really good. What's your take on like anything else? Because like Finney Smith's minutes are down, Lonnie Walker's minutes are down.
Yeah, this is a game where the Brooklyn is a 4.5-point road underdog to Miami. It's a 219 total. So, like, not a great environment. Now, it's a 2-game slate, so it doesn't really matter as much here. People are going to be paid. But I don't mind going to some of these wing plays here. I mean, you got 33 more minutes out of Royce O'Neal, another 20 fantasy points. We know a DFS can do it on the floor as well, 24 minutes for him. Obviously, he's the one that's taking the hit with Cam Johnson back. That's pretty noticeable here. Being a little bit more expensive than O'Neal certainly makes O'Neal the more appealing play at 5K. But you've talked. I mean, Daron Sharp, another 20, another time comes off the bench because Claxton got in foul trouble. He fouls out. Sharp does in 24 minutes, but a double-double. He nearly double-doubled in 19 minutes against Washington. He's going to come off the bench and just go nutty for as long as he's allowed to be out there for, and then he comes off. So, if you want to be different on this slate, high risk play for sure. But like you said, Claxton's going to go out there and just pick up fouls because Bam's just throwing a shoulder into his chest, for the first 5 minutes of this game. Sharp has definite value here.
There is something to be said though. Like Daron Sharp might foul out before Nick Claxton. Like there's a chance he could foul out before Nick Claxton.
If you put Jalen Smith and Daron Sharp on the floor together, who fouls out first?
That's a great question. Dude, what a foul happy just center rotation both those teams have, huh? Like Miles Turner, Nick Claxton, and Daron Sharp.
At any point, those guys could have 4 fouls in the first quarter.
I love the price for Daron Sharp. And on a 2-game slate, like isn't it weird how he's the clear backup only when Nick Claxton is playing? And
when Nick Claxton doesn't play, they're like, yeah, we're just gonna play small.
He just goes I don't understand that necessarily, but maybe it's just like keeping a consistent look because there's they're the same type of just interior presence. Yeah. But this would definitely be a slate I'm looking at Daron Sharp.
Miami here. Bam is 92. Coming off yet another monster performance. 71, 52, 61, 54, 49. So can do. Can do. Sure certainly can do. Jimmy Buckets at 86 again. Good game the other night. 32 points for him. Yep. I don't know if I'm going to play Butler at 86. Bam for me is fine. I like Robinson, and then I go to Jaquez here at 45, and that might be it. I know Caleb Martin is now coming back here, expected to play. I don't know who that cuts into. Does that cut into Robinson? Does that cut into Richardson, Highsmith? There's going to be some sort of rotation here, but I also expect Caleb Martin to be limited in his return. So,
yeah, I think it's tough because Richardson basically just played over Kyle Lowry last game. Kyle Lowry played 14 minutes. It wasn't like anything. I mean, he had 4 fouls in 15 minutes, so they didn't put him back in the game. Does that mean Kyle Lowry just is suddenly out of the rotation? I doubt it. So I have to assume Lowry's back to starter minutes, Richardson backup point guard. I just have I have no feel on these guys because Highsmith is good and then he's bad and then he's good and then
what happened to San Antonio here?
Dude, in a dream matchup, he's 0 for 4, and then he comes back 5 steals, 2 blocks. He had more double the fantasy points in blocks and steals in the following game than he did in the entire San Antonio game. So he's someone that had high praise in the offseason. Does he get developed? There's always the risk with Duncan Robinson if Duncan Robinson isn't going 6 of 13 and 8 of 16 from the floor. If he's not on the floor.
Last year was such a down year for this kid, but there was a reason they gave him a whole bunch of money 2 years ago.
Sure.
So I once again, Miami sort of has a little bit of an embarrassment of riches when it comes to wing depth here. Mm-hmm. Again, Jaquez, as you've called out, playing a bunch of minutes lately. Some really good production. Now, fantasy production versus real life production doesn't always mean court time. We see that all the time. We're like, why did they take this guy off? He's killing it. It's like, well, he's missing his defensive assignments or X, Y, and Z. But still, we haven't seen Caleb Martin in a bit. He's played one game, played 20 minutes in that game, and he's been out since. If we assume 20 minutes is his max, assuming 20 minutes is his max, he could just pull 5 minutes from all of those guys, right? And now you're just at a whole bunch of 27-minute plays from Robinson, Highsmith, and Jaquez, and whichever one is hot stays on for 30,
That feels like the safe bet, right? Like that seems like what's going to happen. So you take your shot on a 2-game slate and hope to God you're guessing the right wing player. But I agree. Not getting to Martin, I think you can sprinkle in shares of like all the rest of them.
Yeah.
Also interesting lineup note move this lately for the Heat. They've just axed Thomas Bryant and they've used Kevin Love as their backup center.
Are you trying to get me to play Kevin Love?
No, I'm just letting you know that that's what's happening. It's 3,700. He's playing 14 minutes or so.
That makes sense for that. I mean, he's just like old now, so
he's he's definitely better than Thomas Bryant. Thomas Bryant
we had hopes once.
We did have hopes once. That is true.
Let's go to OKC. OKC Golden State, the more fun matchup. This one has a 228 game total. The Warriors are a 2.5-point home underdog here. No Draymond, no Steph Curry in this one. OKC coming in fully healthy. SGA, highest roster player on the slate, or is it Bam as the highest roster player on the slate?
It's close. You can definitely get to SGA comfortably with Warriors value and Heat value. Yep. So I would say pretty close. I'd probably say SGA.
His floor game happened against San Antonio. Played only 28 minutes because of that blowout, so he only gave us 56 fantasy points in that one.
7 steals. Yeah. What a terrible floor.
Yeah. Again, I say floor game because 7 steals probably not likely to happen again, but
right.
A bad night shooting wise, only 10 of 16.
Terrible.
Couldn't get us the 25 shots we're used to getting out of him. So, down night for SGA here. I expect for him to bounce back probably against Golden State.
Probably. Hopefully. I mean, I don't know if he's built like that.
It's got to be hurting his MVP chances only putting up that kind of production in 28 minutes. So, other guys, you got other guys putting out just these gaudy stats. You got to do better, SGA. Chet here at 75, not needing to deal with Draymond in this one. Everybody hyped up the battle of Wemby versus Chet, and they both sucked. So potentially a bounce back spot against Golden State. He went for 45 fantasy points earlier. Now more of a competitive game. Honestly, I think this is once again just disrespectful of OKC that without Steph Curry, without Draymond Green, they're only a 2-point favorite on the road here. Because we consider them to be a really good team.
Yes.
So I mean, they lost to Sacramento. I get it, but they went into Phoenix, no problem there. Blew obviously out San Antonio at home here, so I'd probably be betting some Thunder -2.5 in this game for me.
Yeah, I agree. They are being disrespected here because you look at Golden State, they have their only other 20-point scorers other than Steph Curry are Brandon Podzinski and Dario Saric. It's like, what are we seeing from Golden State this year when Steph Curry is not on the floor? That gives you the feeling that they're going to keep it close.
Like, who is keeping up with Shai Gilgeous-Alexander on Golden State? It has to be Clay. It has to be Clay. Clay has not been that guy this year.
No, and the thing is, like, this is so solely based on Golden State being home. It's crazy. Like they think that's Vegas saying like Golden State has a clear home court advantage here, but I think you and I both see right through that.
Yeah, I mean, I would say like they maybe get a little bit of a boost by swapping out Draymond minutes for a more offensive player in Dario Saric. Maybe that helps them out, like scoring wise, offensive player.
Yeah,
but defensively, Saric is way worse. So. Yes. Again, I don't know who is expected to check up SGA here. Bless Chris Paul, but those days might be gone for him there defensively. So yeah, I'm all in on SGA in this one, and I don't know if the 2.5 makes much sense to me. Chet's fine. I don't really play Giddey. Jalen Williams at 61 is I don't really find myself attracted to anybody else on this team when SGA is active. I don't know how you feel about it.
I would play Jalen Williams. Doesn't have the highest ceiling peripherally with Chet and SGA pretty much doing everything, but he did. I've said it like since preseason. I feel like he has found his rhythm as a scorer. We just saw 31 the other night against Phoenix. That was, I don't think it was his career high. I think he scored 30 as a rookie, but I would get to Jalen Williams. I would also probably get to some Lou Dort. We've seen Lou Dort pretty consistently playing mid to high 30s minutes when the game's competitive. I know they just got Kendrick Williams back. Kendrick Williams played 14 minutes in his debut, but who's to say Kendrick Williams is going to cut into Lou Dort's time, especially when like end of games, if this is competitive, Lou Dort's on the floor playing 30 plus minutes. So I would say just
that last Golden State game was without SGA in it too. So
interesting.
And that was a 29-point actual game for Lou Dort.
Right. It's pretty. I mean, like, I'm not saying that because of that game.
Sure.
I'm just saying it because Lou Dort is cheap. He, the small forward eligibility is not great, but he's playing mid 30s minutes in every game that's competitive.
Sure. Again, we'll finish it off here going with Golden State. Chris Paul, your top price play at 67. Clay's at 66. Looney probably has a ceiling rebound game potentially in him if they want to give him the minutes with Draymond out. He played 32 minutes. He had 12 rebounds. So check the rebound props on Looney, probably because they think he's going to play 30 plus. I bet they set it at like 10.5, but definitely can pull down the boards, but 2 and 2. I don't know where the scoring's gone the last couple of games there. Get some of these double-digit scoring games, some upside potential at 54. Saric will be super popular on this slate. And then they didn't waste any time. Podziemski's immediately $4,600, but can you trust him to be on the floor?
For the record, by the way, SGA maybe the highest owned spend up. I would say Saric is the highest owned player.
Okay.
If he starts, I would say Saric just because he's such a high usage player. I mean, he's like popular when he's playing 20 minutes off the bench.
Yeah, we play him all the time.
So I think Saric's going to be extremely popular. This is tricky, the Podziemski thing, because not only was Steph out, not only did Draymond get thrown out, Klay Thompson got thrown out, and then he gets thrusted into 38 minutes. He has played sparingly. He also got incredibly hot and went 9 of 18 from the floor and like kept them in the game. Can you trust that again? Is he going to play over like if Kuminga comes in, would they just go like bigger with Kuminga? Gary Payton, if they need defense, can play like 24, 25 minutes. And what if Klay is just making all the shots? Are they going to extend Klay 35 minutes? Like they haven't. 36 on opening night is the cap for Klay, but like it's really risky. I think the Podziemski thing, John, comes down to 1, the starting lineup, but 2, ownership for me. Like if he's like super off the wall popular and like he doesn't start, that'd be a big red flag for me in this game, because obviously just having Klay Thompson back is an issue for him in itself.
Yeah, for sure. Again, big risk. There's going to be people that play him, and you're going to get a 0, or you're going to get, he'll play. I mean, there's a wide range of outcomes, but we're really wondering, does he have a role if Klay Thompson wasn't ruled out there?
Right.
Because the only person that's outside of Draymond, but he's not filling in for Draymond, was Curry, and we know what the Curry backup rotation looks like.
Right.
So what would be expecting is like, is he playing over Moody? Is he playing over Peyton? Like where do those extra minutes come from for Podziemski? Because we know where they came from in that game.
Right. I don't know. Like I think we've settled into the Masas Moody minutes, right?
Yeah.
He's going to play like 14 to 18 minutes, seemingly no matter who's out. Like he played 14 minutes in a game that Steph and Klay were not there. So he just seems 14 minutes. And if he has that random Masas Moody game where he gets like 4 steals and hits 4 threes, he might play 20, right? Like that's just the role. But Gary Payton, also a guy who I think you're right. I think Gary Payton, especially if he hits a couple threes and they need defensive stops, he's going to play over Podziemski because he is obviously a plus defender. It's a really big question mark. I don't have a feel without looking at ownership right now. But if we wake up and when we run our ownership, and if Brandon Podziemski is 40%, 50% rostered, I'll probably look elsewhere and just try to get leverage on.
What's the deal with Kuminga right now?
It's been bad.
Well, I know that. But like, is he viable here with the shortened front court rotation?
Maybe. I mean, you would think he would have had a little extended run last game, right? No Clay, who can play the 3, and no Draymond, who plays the 4, and he still played 16 minutes, which is his least he's played all year. That was the fewest minutes he's played all year. So maybe it was a matchup thing. Maybe this is better for OKC or better for Kuminga because you see Jalen Williams, who's 6'7", starting at power forward.
He's not dealing with Towns and Gobert in the front court.
So maybe that's something that they look at. Maybe that's something that they look at for Looney too. Like Looney doesn't start because Chet is just someone that will stretch him, and like the switch on the pick and roll is going to be tough for him. Yeah, I think you're onto something here. This could be another seen Kuminga 3, 4, 5, 6 times. He's maxed his 26 minutes. Yeah. I thought he was going to be better than this. I thought he was going to play a prominent role. He's clearly been like 6th or 7th man off their bench, but it's been underwhelming. A very
inconsistent offensive game so far.
Yeah,
really the biggest problem for him. Yeah. But some tough matchups. I mean, we hold in Denver, Cleveland, Minnesota against them these last 4 games. I mean,
that's fair.
Find some tougher front courts to go up against here.
That's fair. Yeah, and OKC's not. And OKC isn't they're a fast-paced team who gives up a lot of points. Good players defensively, but they're definitely not. That's definitely not the same as the last 4 defensive units he's faced.
All right, starting our lineups with SGA and Bam, we got 5K at play.
Saric, I would say, is probably also the only thing with Bam is that I'm not against Bam because we need raw points. Bam is as good as it gets. Darren Sharp, 4,400 really just makes it just like the. I
mean, no one's saying we can't. I mean, we're probably playing them both.
It's just tough because you're now playing that 7:30 center in the. What happens if Podziemski is starting? That's like a potential.
Oh, I mean, you just have to make those pivots.
No, it's just that 7 o'clock game and that util spot's killing me. That's the only thing.
It's just on a 2-game slate. Sometimes you just have to bite the bullet,
Yeah, you do.
5,100 for a guard and a shooting guard. If we were to kind of go this right, I guess we kind of have to play Clay, right?
Probably it's him or Chris Paul would probably be one of the two.
Is Clay not a shooting? Yeah, he has to.
Yeah, he is. He's 6,600. It's not a comfortable price. Moses Madi.
That's how you got SGA and Bam in your lineup, folks. No dollars remaining.
$0. And that's granted that nothing else happens either.
Agreed. I mean, we're obviously definitely playing Saric here, but if we went down to Kuminga, we'd go up 44. Is there a 44 guard? Caleb Martin, 20 minutes. Gary Payton. So
maybe
really not a ton of roster flexibility.
Yeah, no, there's not.
Saric and Moody. If you're gonna if you're jamming in the 2 best players, what we think is on this slate here, and that's SGA and Bam, that's how you're gonna do it. I mean, if you wanted to go sharp here, and then I guess Butler,
Saric, Butler or Bridges would probably be the next 2, just from or you just stack Golden State where you play Chris Paul, Klay Thompson, and Saric. Just hope you just catch fire with all of them.
Come back with Jay Williams.
Yep.
It's not a terrible lineup either, right? Get some late.
No, I kind of like that lineup. I kind of like that lineup.
So,
I mean,
couple lineups with folks.
That's the lineup that, like you said, That's the say fair and balance versus the raw points upside of BAM and SGA. Because if BAM and SGA both go for 60,
Yeah.
That's you're in 120 point, or you're in a 60-point hole to start. So.
Yes, you would have quite a climb to make up the BAM points there, because if he has a ceiling game and and SGA has his ceiling game and you only have one, you basically need two players to make up for what one of those two guys are doing. So
yes, yep.
That's just the way the cookie crumbles here. All right, guys, 2 games in the books, sample lineups, couple of them thrown out there for you. James has your write-up, I believe. It's James on the write-up for this one. So be sure to check that out. Again, no live show on a Thursday, but come back live 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. Myself and Andrew Cooper doing the Thursday Night Football preview and DFS show. So if you want some football advice, like and subscribe to the channel. Get notified when we go live at 7 o'clock to do a little of that. But James and I will be back then Friday morning with the preview show, and 5 o'clock Eastern time for the Friday main slate. All right, everybody, have a nice Thursday. Get us in the Discord. Find us on Twitter. We'll catch y'all later.